Starting goaltenders are brought to you by Chevrolet. 19-year-old John Gibson plays for Kitchener of the Ontario Hockey League, native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's an Anaheim second-round pick in the 2011 draft. He's a returnee from last year's U.S. team. And for the Finns, it will be 18-year-old Joonas Korpisalo, a Columbus third-round pick in the last NHL draft. He plays for Jokerit Helsinki. Their arena not far from this one. This is the home rink of IFK Helsinki in the Finnish Elite League. And the officials are all IHF certified from Finland. And IHF rules are in effect for this pre-competition event. In addition, supplementary discipline applies to these pre-competition games. Should a player do something in one of these games that would result in a suspension, that player would miss games in the World Junior Championship. Phil Housley played 21 years in the National Hockey League, has been an assistant coach previously for Team USA, now the head man for a World Junior team that is expected to do big things in Russia. And Harry Rindell is the man behind the bench for the Finns, who finished fourth last year, losing the bronze medal game to Canada in Calgary. So this is a much better idea of what we'll see, Ray, from Team USA when they open the World Junior Championship against Germany on December 27th.
Yeah, 5 players that didn't play in the opener are in the lineup, and their top 2 defensemen, Trouba and Jones, as we heard earlier, and then their what is essentially their number 1 line of Miller, Gaudreau, and Grimaldi will also join into the fray. But the Finns also have 3 of their top players in as well.
Rasmus Ristolainen, number 5 on defense, is back in the game and out there now. And a centering pass just missed Blake Pietila. And at the point, Connor Murphy, who scored in the Americans' overtime win against Sweden on Thursday, sends that in low. And we got our first stoppage in play as you look at Ryan Hartman, who also scored in that game against the Swedes.
And the Americans like this line. This is an aggressive line. They like to consider themselves similar to the old Detroit grind line of Maltby and Draper, and Pietila and Hartman get in behind the net, and they start to scrum around. They feel that they can do a good job forechecking and hemming teams in. Not so much a checking line, but a pressure line.
First look at what figures to be the U.S. number 1 line. You heard Bob McKenzie talk about J.T. Miller along with Gaudreau and Grimaldi, and they're out there now.
Pretty interesting that Miller is a really, really big player, and he flanks and is flanked by 2 very small players in Gaudreau and Grimaldi.
And Gibson plays that puck up and over the glass. The question is, did it touch the glass on the way out?
Little chip in by the Finns, and as Gibson goes to play it, he launches it up over top of the glass, and
that will give the Finns the first power play of the game, and the penalty will be served by John Gaudreau, Calgary draft pick, who plays at Boston College. So the Finns to the power play. Swedes scored early in that game against the U.S. on Thursday. Americans battled back and then won it in overtime on a goal by Shane Gostisbehere.
And the Finns scored 2 5-on-3 power play goals against Canada. And they'll have a couple of more weapons at their disposal here with Ristolainen in the lineup, shoots the puck very well, and of course Alexander Barkov. Take a look at when he's on the ice, 16 in white.
And Olli Mata, number 2, plays with the London Knights of the OHL, fires that in, and figures to play a prominent role for the Finns in this year's World Junior after missing almost all of last year's with injury. But shorthanded, in comes the U.S. and a terrific chance there for Mario Lucia, and Lucia turned away by Korpisalo.
A very active play behind the net. John Gibson got out and played the puck around the glass, and with the Finns pinching in, it turned into a 100-foot 2-on-1, and Lucia held the puck the entire way.
Ristolainen, number 5, leaves it there. He'll be closely watched by a lot of NHL scouts, a top-ranked defenseman for the upcoming NHL draft. In comes Barkov. His centering pass goes astray, and now the Finns will set it back up. Barkov peeling back in the corner. Lays it off for Arttu Leikkonen, number 28. Teravainen at the point, number 19, across the Ristolainen. Jake McCabe couldn't clear it out, and now the centering pass by Leikkonen was blocked in a sprawling play by Gostisbehere. Teravainen, long wrist shot goes off a leg, and now Barkov back with it. Alexander Barkov plays it back. Teravainen slap pass and a loose puck in front. Just missing on that was Miro Aaltonen. Teravainen to Barkov. And now Barkov walks in. His shot was blocked. Second try at it. And the teams are back to 5-on-5. Arguably the best chance of that power play went to the U.S. shorthanded to Mario Lucia.
Really aggressive U.S. penalty kill.
And now a steal for Barkov, who sends that ahead to Hannakainen. Marcus Hannakainen turned away. Matt Grzelcyk, number 24, lost the handle. And Thomas Nykop with it now. Finns beat the U.S. 4-1 in the preliminary round last year at the World Junior Championship. John Gibson was in goal for the U.S. in that game. And a long shot by Tyler Biggs, handled easily by Korpisalo.
Second chance of the afternoon for Korpisalo to handle. The first one was by Mario Lucia, the shorthanded play that he carried the entire way down the ice. And when you don't move the puck anywhere on a 2-on-1, it allows the goalie to come out and lock in on the shooter. Lucia lost his angle. And Korpisalo, as you mentioned, Gord, a third-round pick by Columbus. The Blue Jackets trying to rebuild their goaltending. They also have a young Swedish goaltender, Oscar Danks, who was in this tournament as well.
Now a chance for the Finns, 2-on-1, and walking in, that shot goes high from Marcus Granlund. And now the U.S. counterattacking. Pass across for J.T. Miller, broken up by Mikko Salomaki. And as Salomaki touches up a penalty in behind the play, or so it would appear.
As Rocco Grimaldi drove the net, he ended up getting knocked off his feet. They took the net off behind Joonas Korpisalo as Grimaldi gets knocked off his feet and ends up sliding all the way through, and that comes off rather easily.
Vince Trocheck throws that in front, and that pass just out of the reach of Alex Galchenyuk, who, as Bob McKenzie mentioned in the pregame portion of the show, will have a major role to play for Team USA. Starring for the Sarnia Sting of the Ontario Hockey League. Now a chance for the Finns in front, and banging away at that is Ville Järvelainen, number 45. Knocked away, though, and a chance now the other way for Riley Barber of the U.S. Barber drops it back. And in comes Trocheck with it. Aaltonen steps into him. 4.5 gone in the opening period. Still no score. Galchenyuk after it. He got bumped in the corner. And it's picked up by Juuso Riikola. Now Riikola runs into traffic. And Trocheck able to knock that down. They'll call a hand pass in the Finnish zone.
Watching the Americans play the first game, it was pretty clear the strength of their team is their transition game. Their defense like to get up in the play. Adding Seth Jones to the mix, who has had a pretty quiet start, will make them that much more aggressive. But they're a quick team. They want to get in on the forecheck. They want to play with a high tempo. And we saw from the Finns against Canada, they check. They have the ability to shut you down, as they did to the Canadians in that third period. Canada had very, very little opportunity to score in the third period.
Big hit there by Jake Trouba on Henrik Haapala. Trouba in the lineup for the U.S. after not playing on Thursday. So as we mentioned, this lineup likely close to what we'll see when the tournament opens for the U.S. Haapala in across the line, drops it back. Ristolainen with it. And Ristolainen, the defenseman, in deep. Plays that down for Lankinen. And the puck cleared up by the U.S. And that'll be icing against the United States.
As the teams evaluate their players here, they want to get everybody the opportunity to play in one of these exhibition games. And there's Jacob Trouba, who sat out the first game. Winnipeg Jets first rounder, 9th overall. Physical player. We know that he's going to be more of the defensive side of the game to Jones's up the ice pressure, and there he finishes very firmly.
Lindell plays it in deep for the Finns for Mikko Salomaki, who will play in his third World Junior for the Finns. And Marcus Granlund on it. Sends it back. And that point shot eaten up by John Gibson.
There are two players that have taken a big step in my mind from last year's tournament, Marcus Granlund and Joel Armia. I thought Armia didn't compete last year. He was soft. Against Canada, I was really impressed with how hard he played the game. Terrifically skilled. And Granlund looks like he's picked up about a half a stride, a little quicker. He's playing also in the middle this year. Last year he was on the wing with his brother Michael. Michael, the Minnesota North Star, or the Minnesota Wild draft pick, first rounder, was the center on that top line. This year, Granlund gets in the middle, and it seems like moving constantly as opposed to stop and start on the wing suits his game.
Tyler Biggs brings it in for the U.S., playing for Oshawa of the Ontario Hockey League. And a collision down in the corner. The puck comes to the Finns. And now chipped ahead of a nifty play by Armia. And the centering pass for Salamaki just out of his reach. Now Biggs collides there with Petteri Lindblom at the line. And the U.S. gains control. J.T. Miller plays for the Connecticut Whale in the American Hockey League. Ranger first-round pick, 15th overall in 2011. And a chance now for Goodrow coming in. And that shot deflects up and out of play. 12:56 to go here in the first period. World Junior pre-competition continues from Helsinki on this Saturday. Later today, Canada will take on Sweden. And the teams will then make their way to Ufa, Russia for the start of the tournament on Boxing Day. Marcus Hannakainen moves that ahead for the Finns. His long shot handled easily by Gibson. Figures to be John Gibson's net for the U.S. to at least start the tournament. The Americans open against Germany on December 27th. They'll have the opening day off. And their second game of a back-to-back against Russia on the 28th. Of note, the Russians will play both the U.S. and Canada after those teams have played the day before. And the host team is allowed to schedule the tournament. They don't set the pools, but they do set the schedule.
They'll get Canada on the second night after Canada plays the U.S. on the 30th of December. They play the 31st, New Year's Eve. So a scheduling perk. The home team advantage is perhaps a tired opponent.
Teuvo Teravainen jumping in across the line, leaves it there for Aaltonen, and that's swept away by Gibson. And a loose puck picked up by Grzelcyk, and Matt Grzelcyk, who plays for Boston University, drafted by the Bruins, leaves it there for Seth Jones, the Portland Winterhawks star. Looks ahead for Trocheck. Galchenyuk with a shot, and Korpisalo makes the stop on him.
Korpisalo's had just a couple of shots so far, but he swallowed everything up. Good positioning here. He's up near the top of his crease. Like many of the Finnish goaltenders, he holds his glove high. He has great leg strength. They really work on the ability to push quickly side to side. There he's out in good position and just swallows the puck.
Back at the point, Trouba's shot dribbles down, and Korpisalo steers that away. At the line, Mike Riley plays it across, and Trocheck with a long shot, gloved by Korpisalo. And Galchenyuk looking for the rebound, got involved in some pushing and shoving along with Trocheck.
Mike Riley shows a little bit of his footwork at the blue line. What a tremendous skater Riley is. He just danced along the blue line, and his wrist shot goes through traffic, easily handled by Korpisalo in front of the net. And a couple of Ontario Hockey League opponents, Mata and Galchenyuk, battle for the rebound.
Biella wins the draw, and a quick shot taken there by Hartman. And Korpisalo makes the stop on that as well. No score, approaching the midway point of the opening period. And Granlund slides that ahead. In comes Salamaki, a centering pass, and Salamaki just missed Joel Armia with that. Trouba. Long lead pass, but the rush is broken up at the finish line. Busting it for the U.S. is Cole Bardreau, number 18. And the puck scooped up by Riikola. And fired down the ice. Gostisbehere back to pick it up. Shane Gostisbehere from Union College. Not a traditional NCAA power, but did go to the Frozen Four, the NCAA Hockey Championship a year ago.
Yeah, born in Florida, a little bit under the radar. One of the few players that has had no contact with the U.S. National Development Team program. He worked his way onto the radar with a tremendous performance, leading Union College to the Frozen Four last year. And he's a little bit of a riverboat gambler. The Flyers drafted him in the 3rd round, and we saw against Sweden in the opener, he is not shy to move up the ice.
And befitting a team coached by Phil Housley, he's not alone. Corrali comes in for the U.S. Here comes Corrali in front. He's turned away by Korpisalo. Another good scoring chance for the U.S. and the puck scooped up by Esa Lindell. Lindell moving it along with Barkov. Barkov also draft eligible for 2013. Will be watched closely by a number of scouts. And you heard Mark Masters talk before this game about how he's really getting worn out playing in the Finnish Elite League, playing in this tournament. He's also seen time with the Finnish men's national team. And a penalty coming up to the United States. It'll be J.T. Miller going off for tripping, and the Finns are about to get another power play. Thomas Nykoff. And another stick on the hands there from Rocco Grimaldi as the Finns bring it ahead. And finally, play is called. And the tripping call is made, which will send the Finns to their 2nd power play.
A pretty careless play by J.T. Miller as he is beaten behind the net, and instead of chasing the puck back up the ice, he knocks the feet of the Finnish defender out. For the 2nd time this period, the Finns will go on the power play.
Talking about players from different parts of the U.S. Miller is from East Palestine, Ohio, part of the so-called Columbus effect. Blue Jackets coming into the league in 2000, and all of a sudden you see players who were 5 and 6 years old at the time now becoming part of the U.S. National Junior program.
Well, the generation before pretty much was, you know, people looked at the people in California starting to play when Wayne Gretzky ended up with the Kings, and then you had parents that were Kings fans, and then their kids became young players, and it easily morphs off of everybody wanting to follow something in the National Hockey League.
And part of the Columbus effect is also felt Connor Murphy's dad. Gord was an assistant coach of the Blue Jackets, part of this Team USA as well. Americans had a good short-handed chance on the first Finnish power play. And now brought ahead by Järvelainen. And Järvelainen's long shot goes high and wide. Järvelainen just 5'6", 150 pounds.
Plays the point on the power play. Scored a power play goal against Canada in the opener on one of the 5-on-3s. But this is a pretty loose Finnish power play.
And Ryan Hartman stepped around Ristolainen. Ristolainen gathers it back up with less than a minute to go in this power play. Ristolainen plays for TPS Turku in the Finnish Elite League. And that long pass, icing waved off as Seth Jones goes back for it, and Jones wins that battle for the puck. His clearing intent went off his teammate, Sean Corrali. Now Gibson out to play it, got caught for a moment. And now the puck is moved down the ice. Unusual for a World Junior, especially in a lockout year, to feature so many top draft prospects, and yet this 2013 World Junior will be loaded with them, including this man, Seth Jones, who brings it ahead. Jones drops it off. Another short-handed chance for Pietila, this time just as the penalty expired.
What a play by Jones. He played it off the wall, picked it up himself, moved it up for the attempt on what turned out to be another short-handed man advantage break. I spoke to one of the coaches in Portland, Travis Green, and asked him, what do we like about Seth Jones? And he said, everything.
He has been everything as advertised and more. Here comes Grimaldi across the line, and Rocco Grimaldi lost the puck. And we'll have a slashing penalty coming up, and now some pushing and shoving breaking out as JT Miller's involved in that. Back with more from Helsinki after this.
For the third time this period, the Americans will be shorthanded. Rocco Grimaldi, who gets denied on the one-on-one chance by Petteri Lindbaum. He ends up slashing the stick out of his hands, and another careless penalty really for the Americans. We saw Canada do this in the first period of their first game. Miller and Grimaldi, their first game. Back-to-back penalties for the U.S.
And Järvenlainen back on the point in the Finnish power play. Had that knocked by him, and back is Olli Määttä to pick it up. Määttä was concussed in the Finns opener last year by Boone Jenner of Team Canada. And Määttä back with it. He was one of 3 London Knights defensemen who played in last year's World Junior. Now going down hard as Salamäki was slow getting to his feet.
When Määttä was hurt last year, he was one of 3 17-year-old defensemen that the Finns had in their lineup, along with Ville Polka and Rasmus Ristolainen.
Järvenlainen sets it up for Salamäki. Looks down for Granlund. That pass denied. And Järvenlainen steps up to keep the puck alive. Granlund wraps it around hard for Salamäki. And at the point, Määttä unable to hold it for the Finns. Granlund finds Armia. And Joel Armia tries to slide that back, gets his own pass. And a nifty move by Armia to tap it down to the corner. Armia to Määttä. Armia back to Teravainen. Fans on the shot now. Määttä with a long drive. Gibson knocked it down. Can't find the rebound. And Gibson still down, but Trouba's got it for the U.S. To the line, but not out. And Teravainen knocked off the puck as the Finns regroup. Määttä tries to drop it back. Trouba broke that up. And Kuraly moves it out for Team USA. 10 seconds to go in this power play. Here comes Kuraly shorthanded. Kuraly in, loose in front. And the chance is turned away by Korpisalo.
This Finnish power play is terrible today on 2 ends of the ice. Offensively, they haven't done a thing. They've tried to rely too much on the one-on-one play, and they've given up 3 chances defensively while they've had the power play. This one by Kuraly, who makes a strong move to drive to the net and forces Korpisalo to make a nice stop. The Americans have been very aggressive on the power play. The Finns look completely disorganized on their power play.
Teams back to 5-on-5 under 5 minutes to go in the opening period. And Nykop flips it down for the Finns. Mike Riley battling for the puck in the corner. And Hannakainen comes up with it for the Finns. Now scooped up by Lucia. And Seth Jones circles back for the U.S. Nykop being harassed there by Jones. Drops it back. Score! Leno with the shot, and the Finns lead 1-0.
Wow, terrific shot by Leno. A turnover at the American blue line in what turned into a 2-on-2 play. And as Jones went across the blue line with the initial puck carrier, that left his partner deep in the zone, and Leno's got about 15 feet to release it. He beats Gibson up over the blocker side. There's the turnover, and Nykop goes across. Jones stays with him, but you see how deep Jones's partner is here, and it's Mike Riley. Riley's way deep in by the hash marks. He can't get out, and this is a beautiful shot by Leno. And the Finns take the first period lead again.
After being outplayed for much of it, despite having the edge in power plays, Korpisalo holds them in, and then Robert Leno puts them ahead. Finns last year finished 4th, as you mentioned, losing the bronze medal game to Canada. As Trocheck brings it in, backhands it in front. Korpisalo diving for it, took that away from Galchenyuk. And now a big hit at the line as Trouba buried his man.
That's a couple of solid hits for Trouba here in the first period.
Gostisbehere slides out ahead. A centering pass for Galchenyuk. He's taken down to the crease. And Galchenyuk not pleased about that as Riikola took him down and a penalty coming up to the Finns.
Barkov gets absolutely steamrolled by Trouba. He's slow moving the puck, and Trouba closes in. The Winnipeg Jets first rounder absolutely staples him. And then as the play turns around, Riikola is going to get an interference penalty, and the U.S. down 1-0 will get their first power play of this game.
Face-off not done fairly. Galchenyuk will center this first power play unit.
Galchenyuk goes to the net, and Nikov, or rather Riikola, leans on him. He goes down, and here's the power play for the Americans.
And Trouba unable to hold the line as it's knocked back, and now Gostisbehere in a race for it with Leno. Americans arrived in Helsinki on Wednesday. Their equipment, for the most part, arrived on Thursday. A number of these players were unable to practice either the day before or the morning of the first pre-tournament game. And for 3 of them, the bad news will come tonight, and they'll make the long flight home tomorrow after being released by Team USA. 2 defensemen and 1 forward will be released. And the Americans now having trouble getting on track on their power play. 2:45 to go in the opening period. Finns lead 1-0 on a goal by Robert Leno. Long pass ahead to Miller. That goes off his skate and played down by Leno. And now Grimaldi steaming ahead. He's taken down, and that'll be another penalty to the Finns, which will give the U.S. a 5-on-3 late here in the first.
Aaltonen will, or rather Hannakainen will go for tripping as Grimaldi's going to try to rush the puck in to the offensive zone. There's the trip. And now we'll see the first look at the 5-on-3 for the U.S. And they have Jones and Trouba on the blue line.
Miller, Goodrow, and Grimaldi up front.
All 5 of these players did not play in the opener for the U.S.
30 seconds to go in the 5-on-3. Trouba slides it ahead for Jones. The pass bounces in front. Once again, the Finns clear it out.
The entry into the zone on a 5-on-3 should be far less complicated than that. There's enough room to get the puck out wide and into the zone.
Trouba to Jones. Right-handed shooting and hard-shooting defenseman. Grimaldi. Jones across to Trouba with a drive. Rebound loose in front. And Grimaldi's insisting he scored, but play continues. And Grimaldi still arguing with the official after that one-timer appeared to go in and out.
Well, the play was the one-time setup to Trouba. He absolutely pounds it. Grimaldi has a clean rebound. There was hesitation by the official. Whether it was in or not, Grimaldi seemed to think it was in. But looking at his reaction, he was the only guy on the ice that seemed to think it was in.
Gostisbehere to Corrali. And that pass back got by everyone. And back goes Galchenyuk for it. 3rd overall to the Montreal Canadiens. And Alex Galchenyuk in across the line. The play is offside.
We'll get a look at it. The Trouba one-timer off the Jones pass to see Grimaldi from the side is going to get the rebound. See if we can get a look at it here. Yeah, that's in the net. That hits the back bar. It comes out so quickly. Now
Miller talking to the official.
Now, if they have replay in the arena, which they don't.
They have replay on the scoreboard. However, video review is not in place for pre-competition games.
So it's 1-1/2 right now, yes. as Grimaldi's rebound was into the back of the cage, but it will not be counted.
So Housley would have seen the same replays you saw, but is powerless to do anything about it. Now Galchenyuk digging toward the corner. Final seconds of this U.S. power play. Digs it back. Gostisbehere plays it across. Now Corrali. Galchenyuk trying to center it. That pass broken up. Teams are back to 5-on-5. Loose puck in front. Tapped just wide by Barber. Galchenyuk taken down. Leaves it there to Barber. And Riley Barber from Miami of Ohio plays it back, but Gostisbehere had to leave the zone. And time expires. Finland has a 1-0 lead. The U.S. feels it should be 1-1. However, as it stands right now, Robert Lehno's goal is the only one that counts, as Korpisalo was under siege for much of that first period from Team USA. Back with more of our coverage of pre-competition action after this. James shots on goal in that first period were 10-4 in favor of the United States. But it's 1-0 Finland after one in Helsinki. John McCabe sends it across, and the teams open the second period 5-on-5. And you heard James and Bob talk about penalties both on Thursday and today, Ray. Called tight, but for the most part, these have been penalties.
They have been, and I would think some of them are a little bit that we've seen in the first period, a little careless by the U.S., the Grimaldi / the Miller trip. Those are penalties wherever you are, and the one thing that most of these kids will have to get their heads around is balancing the emotion of playing in the tournament or playing for your country and staying out of the penalty box, and neither team's done it very well.
Chance there for Haapala. Jam play at the side of the goal, and John Gibson turned him away. Haapala just 5'9", 156 pounds. There are a number of these Finnish potential World Junior players who are well under 5'10" and well under 160 pounds.
Yeah, when Haapala got crushed by Jacob Trouba, he was outweighed by 50 pounds behind the net. That's a collision you're not going to win very often.
Long bouncing puck is gloved by Gibson, and he'll hang on. Saw John Gillies a moment ago sitting on the U.S. bench, who had a very impressive relief performance as the Americans split their goaltenders in game one. He stopped all 18 shots he faced in that game, including 15 saves in the third period.
He did a good job after Garrett Sparks played pretty well in the opener. Sparks gave up a weak one in the first half of the game and then played quite well after it. As the U.S. has good goaltending. They're very confident in John Gibson to carry the load this year.
Gibson was the losing goaltender for Team USA. Their 4-1 defeat at the hands of the Finns in the opening round last year. A disappointing 7th place finish for Team USA in the Alberta World Junior.
And the Finns finished 4th in that tournament, and they were carried really by their goaltender, Sami Atakallio, had a Colorado Avalanche draft pick who's playing in Lake Erie in the American Hockey League this year. He had a terrific tournament outside of the opener where, like many of the Finns, they looked like they had stage fright against Canada, an 8-1 loss. And
one really bad goal against the Swedes in their semifinal loss in a very tight game.
The Finns were not an easy out last year, and they won't be this year.
Teravainen, a high shot there, knocked down by Gibson. By the way, you may notice that now shots that strike the goaltender's mask are no longer resulting in an automatic whistle as of last year. That rule amended somewhat, so the play is only called if the goaltender is clearly staggered by the shot.
In the first period, we had a 1-0 Finnish lead, and here's a good look at Rocco Grimaldi's rebound. You see he gets really good wood on it on the Trouba shot that's stopped by Korpisalo, and Grimaldi goes upstairs and it hits the back bar, the middle bar, and bounces straight out. The official doesn't catch it, and as you mentioned, Gord, there's no replay in pre-tournament hockey, so There's nowhere to look at it.
There are replays.
Yeah, I said except for us.
Yeah, and the fans in the building and the coaching staff.
That's quite a teaser for them, isn't it? Here's the replay, and we can't use it.
Well, and, you know, shades of the NHL those years ago when coaches would point at the video boards in the arenas and know that goals have been scored or not scored. Remember the John LeClaire shot on Dominic Hasek in Buffalo that went through the side of the net?
Side of the goal, yes.
And there are countless other examples. You were clearly robbed.
2 goals.
That's it?
Well, that would have got me to 900 points, so that's it couldn't have been me, Gord.
In comes Joel Armia with a shot up high off the arm of Gibson.
Well, these U.S. goaltenders, you mentioned Gillies earlier and now Gibson this afternoon, they're so big. Gibson 6'3", Gillies 6'5".
Granlund centers, Armia shoots, and Gibson makes a quick stop on him. And the Finns keep applying the pressure. Salamäki centering pass and battling away for that is Granlund. Comes over the puck, plays it neatly off the back of the net, but Gostisbehere stayed with him. Granlund still on it. Armia centers it. The backdoor pass for Salamäki with a great shot. Gibson the save. And Gibson sprawling across, knocked down the pass as well. Great pressure here by this top line for the Finns.
I am really impressed with the step and development of Granlund and Armia in the first period and a half, or game and a half that we've watched. From last year's tournament, they look like completely different players.
Gostisbehere sends that in. And Esa Lindell back for it. The Finns' 4th place finish last year was their best in the World Junior since they won bronze in 2006 in Vancouver.
And that tournament was the unveiling of Tuukka Rask. What a brilliant tournament he had. And
since then, despite all the success Finnish goaltenders have had in the NHL, one of the Finnish problems in the World Junior has been goaltending. Now a steal by the Finns. Walking in, a shot high there by Leikkanen. And Arturi Leikkanen just snapped it high. Barkov back to the line, and that shot by Avonen tipped wide. And again, good pressure by the Finns. Haapala with it. Wraparound try. Tap that wide.
Oh, the Americans are having trouble with the cycle of the Finns, who, as you mentioned, Gord, they're not very big, but they're pesky, feisty on the puck, and they've really supported the puck well here in the first 5 minutes of this period.
Järvelainen second try. Gibson kicks that out. Long rebound, cleared away. And now the play is offside at the U.S. line. And the faceoff will come back down to the Finnish zone.
Well, the only thing that the Americans can be happy with here in the second period has been the play of John Gibson. He's made several really good saves, including this one here on Armia. One-time pass from Granlund, and then after Gostisbehere turns the puck over, Arturi Leikkanen gets a chance from about 15 feet. He tries to go up top on Gibson, shoots it over top of the cage.
Now a second chance and a penalty coming for the U.S. as Haapala was busting in. And the Finns will get an early power play here in the second period as Blake Pietila will go off.
Pietila gets his stick over top of the Finnish forward stick as Aaltonen has a chance to score. Pietila gets the hooking call, and the Americans, after much pressure in their zone, maybe predictably take a penalty, and the Finns go on the power play yet again.
However, the Americans have had the better chances on Finland's power play thus far in the game. Ristolainen fires it in, and Seth Jones has that deflect up and out. That will not be a penalty against Team USA. You get a look at Seth Jones, the son of former NBA star Popeye Jones, now an assistant coach with the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA. And it was while his dad was playing in Denver that Seth Jones got interested in hockey, met Joe Sakic, and Popeye Jones talked to Sakic about how his youngster could become a better player. Sakic talked about having fun and playing a lot. Well, guess what?
I guess it's worked.
Yeah, and by the way, the Portland Winterhawks have also drafted Seth Jones' younger brother, Caleb, who is expected to join the team next year.
With all the talk during the lockout about markets that can make it or can't make it, one thing that's apparent is as the league has grown, the players are coming from different places in the United States. The access to different athletes that maybe would have played football or basketball or baseball that are now getting into hockey at a young age and loving the game. Look at the number of players from Texas and California, places you wouldn't normally think would have hockey and growing hockey. And the Dallas Stars have a lot to do with it in Dallas. And of course, we talked about Gretzky going to Los Angeles and the impact he had.
The late Bob Johnson used to say, Ray, that all the Americans needed was for 10% of the top athletes to play in hockey, and they'd be a world power. Joel Armia digging for it. 45 seconds ago in this Finnish power play. Armia falls, loses his stick, and Seth Jones is all over him. And now Bardreau to the line, but not out, as Järvelainen keeps it alive. McCabe is able to get that across the line. Now Armia with it. And Bardreau plays it back out. Järvelainen, another one of those smaller Finns, 5'6", 153. And a lead pass, and they come, and a chance for Aaltonen, turned away by Gibson.
What a pass by Järvelainen up the middle of the ice.
And now Jones leads the rush for the U.S. shorthanded. And sends the puck in deep. Final seconds of the power play. Aaltonen had that pass bounce away. And Lucia tried to center it. Games are back to 5-on-5. 12.5 to go in the second period. Finns lead 1-0. Lucia falls as he tried to tap that by Lindbaum. And this will be icing against the Finns.
Finns have had most of the pressure. The Americans have not had anything offensively in this period, really. And here's the Järvelainen pass, a beautiful pass through the middle of the ice, knocked out of the air by Aaltonen, who tries to go around Gibson, who stretches out one of those long legs to poke the puck away. Gibson's been very good this period.
Off the draw, that shot deflects wide. Off the stick of Tyler Biggs. And Mike Riley sends it across. Trouba plays that in as Lindbaum goes back for it. A 6th-round pick of the St. Louis Blues is Terry Lindbaum. And now Biggs at the line. The line's hard with his man, and play is called. Back with more from Finland after this. Finns called for hooking, and as a result, the U.S. will go back on the power play midway through this second period.
Almost a power play goal for the Americans in the first period as Grimaldi's rebound went into the net and it was not seen by the official. It's Barkov with the hooking penalty.
Gostisbehere along with Trouba on the back end for this U.S. power play. Goodrow. Battling for the loose puck out there along with Barber. Loose in front. Goodrow had to roll off his stick. And Goodrow back with it. Now Galchenyuk tries to center it. Rolling puck in front. Bounced by Trouba. Gostisbehere tees it up for Trouba. His shot kicked away by Korpisalo. Galchenyuk slides it back to Trouba. Gostisbehere unloads. That shot was blocked. And sprawling in front of that was Robert Leno, the Finnish goal scorer. Now Trouba comes busting in. Centering pass. That's knocked away by Lindell. And at the line, Gostisbehere able to tightrope the line and keep it alive. Galchenyuk works it down low, and that shot stopped. Woodrow got a good shot away, and it's knocked away. 35 seconds to go in the power play. Gostisbehere flips it ahead. The rush for Trocheck. And now back of the line is Jones. Leaves it there for Miller with a shot. That's kicked away by Korpisalo. Miller back at the line for Jones. Grimaldi for Trocheck. Riley looking back for Jones. That pass was broken up by Salomaki. Now the teams are back to 5-on-5 as Salomaki ran headlong into Jones and got nowhere. Riley quickly moves that ahead, but again turned away, and Jones has to retreat. Jones asks for the puck, gets it back, and comes busting in across the line. Here comes Jones, 1-on-4. That long shot knocked down by Korpisalo. Billy Polka, Islanders' second-round pick, had his pass knocked down. JT Miller with it now, and Miller loose in the corner. Bumping there with Lindbaum. Miller digging for it. Pulls the puck out for Hartman. And the puck kept alive. Chance now for Bardreau. Couldn't pull the trigger. And reaching for it is Pietila.
The Finns are dog-tired here at the end of this penalty kill. They have not been able to get their part of their defense off the ice, and the Americans have a fresh set of forwards on.
Armia digging for it. And now spinning and shooting is Miller. And that's steered away. Bardreau looks for Hartman, and again the Finns can't clear it out. That long shot by Ryslik, steered away by Korpisalo.
And the players were thinking at that point, would you freeze it instead of kicking it into the corner?
And Korpisalo got it just long enough to get a whistle as Polka's into it with Jones. And Jones with a smile after a long U.S. foray in the Finnish zone.
Well, that's that grind line the Americans like so much. The players themselves refer to themselves as the grind line. They have an excellent shift, and that'll be time for a goaltending change for the Finns, as you see Joonas Korpisalo leave the Finnish net after an excellent performance, particularly in the first period. And Eetu Laurikainen, who plays in Swift Current in the Western Hockey League, will enter the game.
Came on against Canada when the Finns switched goaltenders midway through and played very well, especially in the third period against Team Canada. Laurikainen, not a big guy either, 5'10", 160 pounds, and goalies under 6 feet are rarity at the top level these days.
It's so different. 20 years ago, a 5'10" goalie was not uncommon.
Corrali with it. Drops that back to Gostisbehere. Shane Gostisbehere in across the line, and right away, Laurikainen has to hang on to that. 7:34 to go here in the second period. Penalty coming to the U.S. Finland goes back to the power play as Shane Gostisbehere goes off with that late poke in the hands of Eetu Laurikainen, the Finnish goaltender.
That's another rule that is called much differently internationally than it is in North America. If the goalie gets his hand on top of it, you get your stick on his glove anywhere, and it seems like that's called immediately.
Salomaki plays it back for Järvelainen. Brings that around. Olli Mata waiting for it. Now Salomaki. Drop back to Armia. Joel Armia. Sets it up for Granlund. Granlund, a Calgary second-round pick in 2011. And now a penalty coming for the Finns as Salomaki got his stick on the American defender. And that'll do it for the Finnish power play.
puck's turned over, and this is a desperation play where you feel you have a chance at it, but Salomaki makes a bad decision and gets his stick through the hands of Jacob Trouba. We'll have 4-on-4 hockey for the first time. Here's the penalty earlier on Gostisbehere, and you see it's not much. It's just the glove on the hand, and his stick goes on top of the goalie's glove.
Tyler Biggs, drop pass. Corrali comes in and falls. His shot goes weakly down to Laura Kynan, who steers that away. And Biggs with a big hit in the corner. Altonen, long shot. Handled easily by Gibson. And Barkov back to pick it up. Long lead pass for Altonen. That slides down to Gibson, and he'll hold it.
That's a couple times Altonen's got in between the defensemen. Earlier on the power play, Järvelainen hit him with a long one right in that same spot. There he squeezes between the defense and has a near miss as eating a banana. Little potassium after the game is Jonas Korpisalo. His afternoon is over.
Better than Mark Sanchez eating the hot dog on the Jets bench, I guess. Mark
Sanchez can eat a hot dog these days. You're going to be watching on Sunday.
Galchenyuk digging for it in the corner. Plays it back, and Grizzly with the shot, turned away by Laura Kynan. Now the centering pass bounced away from Trocheck, and Lindell has it for the Finns.
Really impressed with the way the Finns have been able to take control of the middle of the ice in their zone. They did it against Canada in the third period, and they've done it here in period 2 against the Americans. They collapse so tightly and so much in sync that there's just no room for either of those, in either of those occasions, for the teams to attack offensively.
And for years, that's been their style. Of course, it was backstopped by great goaltending. And now diving in, that shot goes wide for Goodrow. Of course, it seemed like for a decade, the Finnish World Junior goalers were either Terry Leighton or Tuukka Rask. It wasn't quite that long. Long shot there by Hannah Kynan, and Gibson has that.
It's been a good afternoon for John Gibson, too. He gave up the one goal to Leno, a terrific wrist shot. And while he didn't have a lot of work in the first period, he's been very good here in the second. You would think the Canadians and Coach Steve Spott would have a relatively good book on their goaltender, John Gibson.
That Canada-USA game on December the 30th is going to feature a lot of players familiar with each other. If the United States uses this lineup today, could be as many as 9 major junior players on Team USA. You've got players like Tyler Biggs, who's not only a teammate but a line mate of Canada's Boone Jenner. And in the era of text messaging and Twitter, you know the words are flying. Here's Leno, the Finnish goal scorer, being worked on there by Jake McCabe. And now spinning back is Bardreau. Slides that ahead. And jumping in is Pietila. Gets there first for the U.S. But his pass finds no one. And away come the Finns. Haapala throws that in a size mismatch against Seth Jones there. And Jones just swatted that puck away. Jumping in is Jones. Centers it, and the pass is in the equipment of Laura Kynan.
We haven't seen it very much, but in this afternoon's game, but Jones gets out into the open ice, and he can cover the neutral zone in a hurry. He gets it out wide, and as he drives in, he wants to go straight across to the front of the net to Hartman, but Laura Kynan's able to smother the cross crease pass.
Now the draw one back to Jones. Corrali taps it in front, and the pass just squirted away from Biggs. Teravainen wraps that around. Altonen bumped there in the corner by Corrali. Under 4 to go in the second period. Finland still with the only goal of the game, although the Americans did score one in the first that didn't count. Järveläinen's shot goes high and wide. And Biggs has it for the U.S. Flies that down to the Finnish zone. Karaali's there first. And now Karaali with it. Grzelcyk had pinched in for the line, now retreats. And the centering pass goes off a skate. Järveläinen lifted that out. And it just squeezed by Trouba. Trouba back for it, being harassed there by Haapala. And now Trocheck with a long shot, gloved easily by Laurikainen.
The only line for the U.S. that's had any sustained pressure is that third line of theirs where they grind the puck. And, you know, Hartman, who scored in the first game, Pietila plays in the middle of that line. And Cole Bardreau, they've been the only line that's had consistent pressure in the second period.
Now Leno reaching for that loose puck, knocked away by Grzelcyk. And it's chipped ahead by Riley Barber. After having such an edge in the first period, the U.S. under some siege here in the second. Trouba picks up the loose puck, and the Winnipeg Jets first rounders away. Pass just out of the reach of Barber. And backboard is Lindell. Now Galchenyuk trying to center it. And the Finns are away with it. Moved ahead by Granlund, who was knocked off stride. His sharp angle shot goes wide. Salomaki for Armia. And Joel Armia trying to dig that out. Now Goodrow with it. Centers it for Grimaldi, walking in, shoots, and the arm save made by Laurikainen, who got just a piece of that to knock it out of play.
Nifty little play, Goodrow to Grimaldi, and Grimaldi makes one little inside out move here, and he gets past Lindbaum, and this is a terrific stop by Laurikainen as he gets the glove up just enough to deflect away Grimaldi's scoring chance. That's a quick little burst by Goodrow, who's just a terrific playmaking. Plays center most of the time, but playing on the wing with Miller here and Grimaldi.
Armia with it. Flies that pass ahead for Granlund, back to Armia. Bouncing puck in front, that was knocked away. And Armia back on it. The old Armia spins, plays it down to the side of the goal. Loose puck in front. Granlund bats at it, knocks it wide. And Salomaki take it down. Now Grimaldi back in the other way. Drops it off for Gostisbehere, who had joined the Russian army, and now with a chance one-on-one against Jones. Granlund jumping in as well. Armia in, shoots. It's off a skate and wide. And Ristolainen pounds it back in for the Finns. Miller, lead pass there for Goodrow. This pass gets tangled up at the finish line. Now a chance for Barkov working in, drops it back, and Gibson poke checks that away from Lankinen. And now a penalty came up to the U.S. as Seth Jones got a stick in there for a slash, and the Finns will get a late power play here in the second period. And Jones says, who, me?
Here's a slash here on Jones. That's not much, that one. However, you sit over there and you think of a different way to go about it the next time.
Penalty boxes and the prisons are full of innocent men.
That was not much of a slash.
No, it was not. And you would be one of the world's leading authorities on slashing.
There are slashes that you deserve at least 2 for. Some should be 3. That was not one of them.
30 seconds to go in the second period. Finland back on the power play. Barkov with it. Alexander Barkov leaves it there for Aaltonen. Lakeinen looking for it. Now Barkov banks it there for Ristolainen. 10 seconds to go in the period. Sent back to Teravainen with a shot, and Gibson makes the save through traffic. And now Trouba off the boards, but not out. Teravainen, long shot, bounces down, and Gibson knocks that away as Grzelcyk took down Lakeinen.
This has really been a strong suit of the Americans today as their penalty killing. Very aggressive. They've moved a couple of players tight on the puck in the corner, and then they'll even send a third one if there's a puck battle. But when the Finns have gotten the puck through, John Gibson's made the stop. He made a nice stop there. The point shot through traffic on Teravainen.
Final seconds now of the second period. And this Finnish power play will likely carry over into the third. You see Nykop trying to go forward with it. And time expires here in the second period. No scoring in the middle period. Finns continue to lead 1-0 in pre-tournament action for the 2013 World Junior Hockey Championship.
Second period scoring summary is brought to you by Molson Canadian, proud sponsor of Hockey Canada. Both teams struggling on the power play. The Americans 0 for 4, the Finns 0 for 6. Seth Jones leading the way in ice time with shy over 15 minutes. Gord and Ray.
Thank you, James. As we see Eetu Luurikainen, who has been a stalwart in the Finnish goal thus far. By the way, the 2016 World Junior expected to be awarded to Finland. Finns last won the World Junior on home ice in 1998. Nicholas Hagman with the golden goal for the Finns in that tournament.
They got a lot of young players on this roster, too. A lot of 17 and 18-year-olds.
Beat the Russians that year in the gold medal game and set up a celebration that might still be ongoing in Helsinki for all we know.
Well, my old teammate, Pasi Nurminen, became an internet sensation after they won the World Championships, and he was overserved on the flight home. Stumbled off the plane.
Järveläinen across the line, and Gibson eats that up. Maybe the greatest celebration I've ever seen in sports was when the Finns won the World Championship in Stockholm in 1995.
Yes, I bet so.
Oh, that was one for the ages. They're still mopping up the broken glass in Stockholm from that one. Finns and Swedes, by the way, will play on New Year's Eve. So it's quite a day at the World Junior Championship. Canada against the Russians, Finns against the Swedes on the other side. And here remains 1-0 with the Finns still in the power play for 10 seconds. Armia knocked off stride. Salomaki centers it. Mata shoots it in front. They score! Marcus Granlund makes it 2-0 with a power play goal.
Second game in a row that Marcus Granlund scores on the power play. This is a rush by Armia. He's pinched off by Trouba. And as Mata joins into the rush, he's going to take the pass from Salomaki. Mata fans on this right here. That was supposed to be a lot crisper a pass, but it works out perfectly as it goes past Gostebert. Whoops. And a freebie for Marcus Granlund, a second power play goal. Biggs overcommits in the corner. And as he gets too far away from the front of the net, that opens up Mata coming right down Main Street. So the Finns with 3 power play goals in 2 games.
But you mentioned 2 on 5-on-3s. Finns beat Canada in their first pre-tournament game on Thursday, and coming up we'll have Canada against Sweden from Helsinki. Final tune-up game for those 2 teams, and the Swedes still have some cuts to make as well. Trocheck tries to throw that in front. Seth Jones with it. Lines it down for Barber. And Riley Barber. Washington's 6th round pick back for Jones. Barber still battling for it, but it's picked up by Hannakainen. And Marcus Hannakainen fires that in deep. U.S. opens against Germany on the 27th and has Russia on the 28th, Canada on the 30th, and wraps up the opening round on New Year's Eve against the Slovaks. Finns play Latvia on Boxing Day, then the Czech, Swiss, and close against the Swedes, and moving in front, score! Another goal for the Finns. And this time looked like Barkov got the last touch on it, and it's 3-0.
You can see how big Barkov is in the celebration there. The youngster just 17 years old, 210 pounds, and he's in front of the American net. As he comes around the backside, wide open in front, Gibson makes the nice save, but the rebound ramps up the stick of Mike Riley. Lehtonen's shot is from the slot. He's wide open here. Barkov will put it at the net. You see it ramp up over Mike Riley's stick, and a 3-0 Finnish lead.
And you wonder if this game is going to make it more difficult for the U.S. in the selection process. 3 players have to be released after this game, 2 D and a forward.
Well, you would think that Phil Housley and his staff had a pretty solid idea what they thought they had. Now, a game like this may make them question the players that they had outside the bubble. But I don't know that you can panic and change where you want to go here. It's still a pre-tournament game, and you would think that the players that would perhaps jump inside the bubble would be depth players at best. Your top-end players are going to be the ones that have to play well for you.
Long shot steered away by Laurikainen. Now that drive by Truman knocked down. Loose puck to score! And it's Pietila who picks up the rebound and slips it home, and the U.S. is on the board.
Well, there's that line that we talked about in the second period, the line that is given the U.S. the most zone time, their version of Detroit's grind line. And Pietila, Hartman, and Hartman, who scored in the opening game, they combined with Bardreau, and after Trouba jumps up into the play, it creates some chaos in front of the Finnish net. Pietila is the one who finishes the play off.
So the Finnish lead is back down to 2. And lots of time to go here in the third period. Put ahead for Granlund. Salomaki centers and tapped just wide by Armia. And a slick three-way passing play there for the Finns. Now back the other way is Corrali for the U.S. In and shoots. And Laurikainen gets the right pad on that. And now the collision is Matteau. Got a high hit on his man, and Matteau will go off.
Matteau has not played very much. Very physical player, first-round draft choice by the New Jersey Devils. Of course, his dad was a longtime New York Ranger. But Matteau is at times undisciplined. He's been a player that has been suspended in the Quebec League on occasion. And here he'll go to the penalty box. Armia has an open net on the Salomaki pass, and you wouldn't think that Armia would miss that very often, but he deflects it wide. You see with the penalty box door open, this would be 2 and 10 for Stefan Matteau.
So the automatic 10-minute misconduct for a check to the head. And the Finns are back on the power play. Teravainen leaves it there for Ristolainen. Rasmus Ristolainen, a player who caught your attention last year at the World Junior Championship.
Really like the way he plays, moves around the ice, and he's got a big shot to use on the power play. And where I was most impressed, I think, with Ristolainen, Gord, was after Olli Määttä went out of the tournament, they had to ask him to do a lot. And I thought he and Ville Pukka were, as 17-year-olds, or 16-year-olds rather, did a remarkable job. Now draft-eligible player is Ristolainen. And he will garner a lot of interest.
Scramble draw, Lankinen gets to it for the Finns. Centering pass for Aaltonen, got away from him. And the puck cleared out by Cole Bardreau. Another chance shorthanded for the U.S. Bardreau taken down. At the line, McKee sends it back in deep. Barkov. Teravainen winds his way in, centers it for Barkov, drops it back. Ristolainen works his way in and shoots. Deflects just high. And Gibson didn't see that until the last moment. Now Ristolainen tees it up and hammers it wide. Lankinen tries to center it. That pass broken up by McCabe. Teravainen. Through the middle, back goes to Barkov with a drive, score! Tipped in front, and the Finns are up 4-1 on the power play goal.
This is a terrific play by the Finns. They use that high guy in the slot like a postman in basketball. They get the ball, they get the puck into the middle of the ice here as Teravainen slides it in, and it goes right back out. The one-timer is deflected by Lankinen in front of the net. Nice pass from Aaltonen. Barkov shot is deflected by another draft-eligible player, a player that will also garner a lot of attention. Artti Lankinen. Small, 5'10", 165 pounds or so, but very, very skilled, and he gets the second power play goal of the afternoon for the Finns.
Anakainen shoots, and that's gloved by Gibson. So 4-1 the Finns lead. That was the score in the opening round match last year when the Finns beat the U.S. And again, the Finns go to town on the power play, which got off to a slow start in this game.
It was terrible in the first period. They were the best chances on the power play were U.S. shorthanded chances, but a couple of power play goals here, and the Finns have stretched it out 4-1.
Trouba sends that in. Biggs looking for it. And now Armia has it back for the Finns. Joel Armia for Granlund busting in. Armia in, shoots, Gibson the save, and the rebound bounced away from Salomaki.
After a moment of enthusiasm after they made the score 3-1, the Americans looked dejected here a little bit as their energy goes down after the fourth goal by the Finns.
Biggs up high on Granlund, and Lucia with it. Mario Lucia, his dad Don is a longtime head coach of the University of Minnesota's hockey program. Down for Seth Jones, a centering pass. And a chance there for Mike Riley. Stopped point blank by Laurikainen. Jones back with it. Takes the return pass, and Seth Jones in the corner. Trying to leave it there for Goodrow. And that puck knocked down with a high stick as Jones picks it back up for the U.S. Jones drops, and that shot from Goodrow goes wide. Grimaldi drops it back, and a shot by Jones. He teed that up and played it high off the glass. And the puck is frozen in behind the finished goal. Finland leads 4-1 here in the third period. Gord Miller, Ray Ferraro, Mark Masters with pre-tournament action for you. Bob McKenzie and James Duthie back in the studio. And the Finns with a 4-1 lead here in the third period. Finns with a chance to go 2-0 in the pre-competition, which might send some waves through the tournament.
Hard not to be impressed with the way the Finns have played.
By the way, Canada and Sweden coming up, and Team Canada confirming that Brett Ritchie will not play in the game for the Canadians.
That'd be a tough commute. Fly from Edmonton and get there just in time for game time. That'd be a long way to go and play.
That's Mark McNeil, who would have to sub in for Ritchie.
Sorry, yes.
So Canada without
my
Charles.
mistake, sorry, yeah.
Charles Hudon injured in the first game. McNeil replaces him. Now Ritchie out. McNeil lands
5:30, they say, local time?
Yeah.
That's a long way.
Yeah.
How about him thinking the phone call was a joke?
Yeah.
One of his buddies was pretending to be Steve Spott. Say, get on a plane.
No, really, it's me.
They did announce yesterday as well about Ritchie that he will play on the 26th, that they feel like they're in good shape with Ritchie to be healthy for the tournament start.
12 to go here in the third period, and Barger almost had that breakaway pass. And this will be icing against the Finns. There is Ville Pukka, part of that group of returning defensemen for the Finns, along with Olli Mata, who will play in his third tournament. Ristolainen's back.
Pukka, second-round draft choice by the Islanders last June.
Two great passions in Finland, hockey and handheld devices.
Yes, Nokia was the first company that everybody had to have.
Here's Armia working his way in. Nifty move by Armia, but Jones stripped him of the puck.
Look at Jones jump up into the play. He's starting to get more and more involved here as the U.S. tries to inch their way back in.
Lindell chips it ahead for Salamaki. Got bumped there by Corrali. Finland, a country of about 5 million people. So its per capita production of hockey players is pretty good. Armia centers it. Salamaki, loose puck in front, sends it across, and Granlund hammered it high.
Oh, what a play in tight by Salamaki. Nashville draft pick makes an excellent feed off the Armia pass.
Goodrow knocked down at the line, and the Finns will regroup. Halvinen being shadowed there by Miller, who finally flushed him out. And now Halvinen slides it ahead. Annikainen had that bouncing puck go down to Grzelcyk. Pass ahead for Goodrow, missed, and Mata has it for the Finns. Nykop slides it ahead, and now Grzelcyk with it for Team USA. Matt Grzelcyk from Charlestown, Mass. Suburb just across the river in North Boston.
Drafted by the Bruins.
Plays his college hockey at BU. Dad worked at the old Boston Garden on the Bull Gang that does the changeover for basketball and hockey.
Yeah, 40 years he worked there. And Grzelcyk said, wouldn't it be something if he could play a game and his dad could drive the Zamboni one time? And it's an amazing story, really, to live your whole hockey life within a very small radius.
Now Miller walks in and fires. He hammered that shot high and wide. And all the way back down to the U.S. zone. 9.5 to go in the third period as Trouba is back for it.
You know, before the game, Mark Masters talked to Coach Phil Housley, and they mentioned that they didn't scrimmage at camp. You know, 5 of these players didn't play in the opener, and much like we talked some of the rust that we saw in the Canadian players that didn't play a whole lot at their camp, I'm sure the Americans feel that they have been pretty rusty in this game against the Finns. That top line, their supposed #1 line with Miller, Grimaldi, and Goodrow has had very, very little in the way of offensive chances.
And there's a hit by Hartman from behind that will result in a U.S. penalty.
Hartman hits to the back shoulder.
And we'll see what the call is here. because this could be another 2 and 10. As you see, Mateau still serving his misconduct.
As the puck goes back around, oh, this is the Salomaki pass. Salomaki to Granlund, and good stick in front of the net by Mike Riley. That time Riley deflects it wide. The third goal, Riley deflected up over top of John Gibson.
It is a 2-minute penalty to Hartman, and Barkov goes to work on the power play. Teravainen for Ristolainen. Barkov, Teravainen tees it up, scores!
Wow, what a shot.
And it's 5-1 Finland on another power play goal.
Is this the same power play that was out in the first period? Because it looks nothing like it. Teravainen, the Chicago Blackhawks first rounder, absolutely powders this from the point, and it goes through the double screen. As you see, the Finns again have Lehkonen in front of the net and Aaltonen out top, and with the traffic of Mike Riley, I mean, that is almost a conga line in front of John Gibson. He picks this up late, and the shot knuckles and beats Gibson from the point. Third power play goal for the Finns.
You mentioned Teravainen, a first-round pick of the Blackhawks, a forward who plays the point of the power play, and now you see why. And they actually use 2 forwards on the power play. Ville Järvenäinen does it as well. And a Kainen shoots, and Gibson gloves that.
Well, as this thing turns sour for the U.S. here in the third period, the 3 power play goals have stretched the league out. Phil Housley and his crew will have to discuss their roster before they make their final cuts, which will be later tonight, Finland time.
And they'll play again for another 5 days. They've got the first day off at the World Junior. They open on the 27th.
It's going to be a long 5 days. They're going to want to, the players will want to get going. They'll want to play.
Now a steal by Salomaki off the stick of Gostisbehere wide. And a big hit there by Salomaki as he hammered down Trocheck. And a penalty coming up to Mika Salomaki. Back with more from Helsinki after this.
Salomaki will go to the penalty box. The hit on Trocheck is from behind. Salomaki, as we mentioned earlier, a Nashville second rounder, had an assist in this period, and he takes Trocheck, the Florida Panthers third rounder, into the boards, and the U.S. goes on the power play.
Galchenyuk works it across. That pass for Trouba. Backhand shot. And Laura Kainen gets that. Galchenyuk works it back. Gostisbehere across to Trouba. To Galchenyuk. And Galchenyuk shoots. He rattled that high off the glass. 7.5 to go in the third period. U.S. on the power play down 5-1. Trouba hammers that, and that shot hit Riley Barber in front, and Barber was staggered by that.
Now that takes a bite out of Barber as he goes to the bench.
Now Galchenyuk back with it. Squeezed there by Haapala, but still has it. Plays it down for Goodrow. Back to Jones with the drive. And Laura Kainen's got that.
Good puck movement by the U.S. They set up back-to-back one-timers off that left top circle. There's the shot that hits Barber, and you can see as Barber's standing next to Lindbaum, he doesn't see the puck until late. He's in there to try and create traffic, but he doesn't pick it up, and it hits him. And then the second shot, the one-timer by Jones, is swallowed up by the goalkeeper, Laura Kainen.
Here's Jones back with it. Long wrist shot. That's tipped wide by Miller. And now Jones can't hold the line and has to retreat. Jones dances in across the line, steps around, reached the line, and got spun around. And the Finns are able to clear it out. And Mike Riley with it.
I'm not sure, Gord, if I'm more surprised at the way the U.S. has played or the way the Finns have played. The U.S. has been not very good here in this hockey game. And for 5.5 periods here, the Finns have been really good against Canada and now the U.S. I've been very impressed with the way they've played, how much they dig in and how well they work on the power play.
Trocheck with a shot up high, and Laura Kainen's got that.
Sorry, Gord. It's been a really impressive pre-tournament for the Finns, which of course doesn't mean anything once December 26th rolls around.
Grimaldi with it. Teams are back to even strength. Rocco Grimaldi centers it. That pass broken up. Now loose in front. Riley with a shot that got blocked, and it dribbles down to Laura Kainen.
Starting to see some frustration every whistle here. The scrums come together as there's Trocheck who was hit that caused the penalty.
And we should point out that anything that happens in these pre-competition games is subject to supplementary discipline. What would happen is the incident would be referred to the directorate meeting on Christmas night, and there have been examples of players suspended for the start of the World Junior Championship based on what happened in pre-competition games.
That would be something that the U.S. in particular would want to remind their players of here, as they'd be the team, of course, that would be more frustrated. And the U.S. is already without would have been one of their top 6 forwards.
Chance for Biggs, who plays that high off the glass.
As Stefan Neusen had a 10-game suspension in the Ontario Hockey League, and the U.S. wasn't able to take him in this tournament.
And that suspension will not run out until after the World Junior, so as a result, he's not eligible to play. Jonathan Huberdeau got a 4-game suspension in the Quebec League. The 4th game was the other night, so Huberdeau will play for Canada later on tonight against Sweden. Now working his way in is Grzelcyk with it. Under 5 to go in the 3rd period. Kiraly centers it. And again, Laura Kainen steered that away. Shane Gostisbehere brought that in, but Barkov strips it away. And now Mata with it. Olli Mata works his way in. And Gostisbehere had to knock that to the sideboards. Ristolainen. Rink wide for Barkov, who pounds it down to the U.S. zone. Finns in the easier of the 2 groups in the World Junior, with Latvia, the Czechs, the Swiss, and Sweden. And now walking and rattling that high is Ryan Hartman. Canada in with the United States, Germany, Russia, and Slovakia.
And the 3rd place team in the Canada pool, when they get to the crossover, is going to end up with either the Swedes or the Finns on that crossover game. That's a position that the U.S., Canada, and the Russians will want to stay under.
So those teams in the Canadian pool with the U.S. will want to be wary of the Slovaks. You don't want to trip up against the Slovaks in the preliminary round. That could bounce you down to 4th. And the penalty call against Joel Armia for taking his man down in front, and a late U.S. power play. The rosters for this tournament, by the way, won't become official until Christmas night when they're submitted to the directorate. So any team, including Canada, which did it yesterday, is free to make changes, add players, subtract them right up until the 25th.
And there's always a couple of surprises when we get those final rosters, mostly from the European teams, who usually carry about 30 players on their pre-tournament roster.
3.5 to go in the 3rd period. Trouba plays that down for Goodrow. Now Galchenyuk with it. Back to Gostisbehere to Galchenyuk. Lines his way in. Drops it back, and that pass staggered Goodrow. Galchenyuk feeds it back and hops over the stick of Gostisbehere and out. Gostisbehere scored the overtime winner against the Swedes on Thursday. Now busting in is Goodrow with a shot that goes high and wide. Trouba keeps it alive. Goodrow goes rink wide. And then Gostisbehere was cross-checked down in front of the Finnish goal. 2:45 to go in the third. Finns leading 5-1 on the strength of 3 power play goals, and Barkov with 3 points in the third period.
After a quiet first 40 minutes, Barkov has had a lot to do with the way the Finns have played here in period 3.
Riley throws it down the centering pass, got by Galchenyuk, and goes all the way down. Seth Jones, long lead pass, finds the stick of Barber. So Riley Barber, or check that, that's Riley, number 6, not 16. Barber was struck on the arm by a shot earlier. Trocheck drops it back. Grimaldi, a long shot that was blocked in front. 2 to go now in the third period. And Eetu Laurikainen, along with Korpisalo, have turned in a strong goaltending performance for the Finns. Now Riley, final seconds of the power play, drops it down. The centering pass from Trocheck, up by everyone down to Grimaldi. Grimaldi back with it, centers it, and that pass missed the stick of Corrali. Now busting back the other way is Armia. Joel Armia in, stopped by Gibson. And he'll eat up the rebound as Joel Armia came busting in on him.
Puck bounces over the defenseman's stick. It turns into a foot race for Armia and Seth Jones. Armia lays the shoulder in here. This is good puck protection, and he tries to go up over top of John Gibson. Pressure from the outside by Jones, and Gibson makes the save. If the U.S. is looking for positives today, there's not many. They had a very good first period. Outshot the Finns 10-4, yet they were trailing 1-0. They had the goal by Grimaldi that was not counted. But after that, they've been outworked. I thought they looked so fast in the opener against the Swedes. They looked disjointed here against the Finns, and their puck movement hasn't been as good, so they don't look anywhere near as fast. Lots of one-on-one play.
Yeah, Corrali trying that rush, but he's stymied there by Ville Pukka. And now Laurikainen plays the puck at the line, but not out. Centering pass. Lucia couldn't get a shot away. And Laakinen, who scored one of the Finnish goals on a nifty deflection in front, sweeps that out. 30 seconds to go in the third period. Coming up next, Canada against Sweden. And we'll see some lineup changes for the Swedes as well after their game against the U.S. And a very impressive pre-tournament performance by the Finns as they go 2-0. Knocking off Canada and the United States, a resounding 5-1 win over Team USA.
So as the Finns finalize their roster, they must feel very good about the way they played over the 6 periods of pre-tournament play. And now Phil Housley and his coaching staff and USA Hockey will have to make the final 3 cuts to their roster after a rather sloppy 5-1 loss to the Finns.
So both these coaching staffs have some work to do before their teams leave for UFA tomorrow. And now we'll have the player of the game presentations for both teams. Barkov had 3 assists in the third period. Marcus Granlund, a strong game for the Finns.
Oh, look who's here.
Best player on the team USA, number 3, Seth Jones.
Seth Jones named the player of the game for Team USA. The player whose name you're going to be hearing a lot in the World Junior On leading up to the NHL draft in 2013. And Marcus Granlund, who plays his games in this arena, is the player of the game for the Finns. to win it by a score of 5-1. And next stop for the Finns, they'll open on Boxing Day against Latvia. The U.S. will take on Germany on December 27th. Still to come, Canada against Sweden. You're watching pre-competition action from the 2013 World Junior Championship.
Listen.